So I was pretty much a fan of Smiling Friends from the moment its pilot dropped as an Adult Swim April Fool's joke in 2020, and had been a fan of both of its creators, Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack, for even longer. I loved Damo and Darren when I was younger, watched Bushworld Adventures and YOLO Crystal Fantasy, enjoyed plenty of Zach's independent creations and Let's Play funnies, and overall was in the perfect position to enjoy Smiling Friends once it hit the scene as a full-fledged animated series. I've never talked about it much on YouTube because, frankly, listen to my voice, I sound like the kind of guy the crew behind the show would make fun of on a podcast for asking an embarrassing question at a convention. But to reiterate, I have been following and enjoying Smiling Friends since its earliest public conceptions, and now that the show has unceremoniously but understandably drawn to a close, I wanted to finally talk about it a bit in earnest on my channel. Smiling Friends was, and still is, for such a silly, nonsensical, irreverent, gross, and atypical cartoon, a true once-in-a-generation piece of entertainment. This was a cartoon that platformed so many talented independents, skyrocketed the careers of so many niche artists, and made so many people laugh hysterically during its short run that I truly think it'll go down in history as one of the most special, you had to be there runs in all of animation. And it was all done under one unified goal: to make people smile. Smiling Friends, on a core foundational level, was a celebration of the things that the people making it thought was funny, and to be a vehicle to express that feeling to as wide of an audience as possible. Its entire MO was mashing a bunch of niche funny internet stuff together and putting it in front of as many people as they could for them to enjoy as well. It was purely a showcase of the weird, wacky, and off-the-wall stuff that made the crew behind it who they are today. This feeling of sharing and spreading positivity was in this cartoon's DNA. It's obviously in the core premise, a group of wacky characters who go on adventures to make downtrodden people smile, but it goes so much deeper than that. Every facet of this cartoon was designed to point in the face of adversity and hardship and tell its viewers to just smile through it. I know this might sound a little weird considering how dark, oppressive, graphic, and cynical a lot of this show can get, calling it an optimistic cartoon would certainly tilt some heads, but it's important not to focus on the individual moments out of context, and instead focus on how they made us feel in the grand scheme of the show's run. Like, yeah, they definitely killed the hell out of the blackface demon, and yeah, Mr. Frog definitely did a lot of really horrible stuff, but when the vast majority of us first watched these scenes, I guarantee you that a good chunk of us were laughing and eager to share them with our friends to get the same reactions out of them. Smiling Friends pointed a mirror at the cynical absurdity of our modern lives, ramped it up to 11, and reminded us not to take things so seriously. It presented us with these horrific situations, some of them definitely mirroring certain aspects of our real lives, and instead of getting bogged down in pessimism about it, gave us a reason to laugh and push forward instead. The show's characters, for as deeply flawed and inconsistent as they could be as people, resonated with viewers of all backgrounds because they were, on top of being hilarious, also rootable and easy to see ourselves in. This is a take I see people say all the time. It is not fresh, but in a landscape of adult cartoons just filled with awful characters who hate each other, Smiling Friends presented a fresh, likable cast by just giving us a group who got along and liked being around each other, and most importantly, who were fun to watch. Its big subversion was that these guys were likable and on good terms. It was easy to want to see them succeed, feel bad when they didn't, and feel great when they did, because despite looking and acting like this, it was clear from moment one that these characters were not disposable and were worth caring about. The magic of Smiling Friends' cast was that so many different types of viewers felt seen by it. Whether you were someone who enjoyed Pim's adorable optimism, Charlie's sarcastic and laid-back realism, Alan's played-up neuroticism, Glep's chill vibes, or Mr. Boss's litany of hilarious quirks, it was very easy to like and root for this cast, which made their ultimate goal of making people smile all the more impactful. Compounding all of this was the show's uniquely grassroots and homegrown vibe. Even as the budget increased astronomically into the final season, Smiling Friends never lost that vibe of being the kind of show where you felt like you were in on the joke while watching it. This was due in part to the numerous beloved and respected internet figures who were given starring platforms on the show to show just how funny they were, but also due to the incredibly humble perspective the show had. Smiling Friends was a show created for and by a bunch of weirdos who spent their formative years in niche, sometimes extremely fucked up internet internet circles, and that perspective was never forgotten at any point in its run. It's always winking at the audience with some kind of clever, incredibly niche bit or observation that makes you feel rewarded and seen for understanding it, while also miraculously not alienating more casual viewers who might be unfamiliar with these things. This feeling of being a labor of love produced by a bunch of weird internet guys is present at every moment of this cartoon. It's a type of humor and perspective that had only ever existed on the internet prior, being given a huge platform to show why it resonates with so many people, from the point of view of a group of creators who were there to see that culture grow and expand from its earliest roots. It never felt corporate, phoned in, or how do you do fellow kids, because the creators and fans were the ones who grew up being how do you do fellow kids at. For such a relatively short and recent run, I formed a lot of positive memories associated with Smiling Friends. I shared so many episodes and watch parties with friends. I was there when people were pushing for the pilot to be made into a full series and celebrating when it did. I was in the live audience and saw people's live reaction to the Brazil episode. I caught the early premiere of the Gwimbly episode as soon as I could. I saw the resulting Gwimblification of the internet firsthand. I popped off watching live when Doug Walker showed up. I talked about it with coworkers who were getting into it after I had already been an established fan. I saw a Glepsher in my local Hot Topic. I watched all of Season 3 at 11:30 p.m. EST Sunday nights on Adult Swim, and overall, I enjoyed Smiling Friends as an essential cornerstone of my entertainment platter for its entire run. I'm not going to pretend to absolutely redefine my life or anything, it's still just a cartoon, but at the very least, it's an incredibly solid, unique, and important cartoon that gave me a lot of memorable moments, a lot of great laughs, and a lot of things to bond with friends and other like-minded internet freakazoids over. Zach and Michael's decision to close the book on Smiling Friends is a sad one, as I feel there's simply not another cartoon like it, and I can't see one coming out anytime soon that wouldn't feel like a pale imitation. However, the fact that they were allowed to make this decision on their own terms is a breath of fresh air, and really does show what an incredibly artist-forward and creator-friendly cartoon Smiling Friends was. Rather than running the show into the ground, half-heartedly producing more episodes out of financial or contractual obligation, or letting the show become a zombie of its former self, Zach and Michael, in their own words, decided to stop while they were on top and leave people wanting more. Even if you're sad that the show is over, would you rather that, or have to deal with arguments about which era or showrunner tenure of Smiling Friends was when the show turned bad in a few years? If Zach and Michael truly feel that the show has run its course, and that they've reached the best point to call it quits, then far be it from me to tell them they're wrong. They made the damn show. I just make Nintendo videos on YouTube. So, to close out this admittedly rambly video, I want to express an earnest, serious thank you. Not a fake YouTube comment to help me get through so many hard times kind of thank you, but a genuine one. To Zach Hadel, Michael Cusack, every artist, animator, voice actor, editor, etc., and every single person over on the team at Smiling Friends for giving us this goofy, stupid, irreverent, unforgettable cartoon. You may not realize it now, but I'm pretty confident that you've made television history. Because while they might not have been perfect people, or even the best at their jobs, these little critters sure were our friends, and they definitely made us smile.
That's us, ma'am. Here to bring smiles and make the world a better place.
That was probably the coolest and craziest and most fun adventure we've ever gone on.
I agree, Charlie.
Mr. Buzz, you're having the time of your life back there.
I don't know. Okay? I love my boys.
I love all you guys.
I love
This
you.
is a
This is
great
great.
day to be Smiling Friends. This is a fun energy. I like this place.